The history between him and Myles Garrett is well documented. There are many layers to this. What more can you tell us?
Laura, could you come up with a more interesting and intriguing scenario for Week 17 than the Cleveland Browns having to win, now having to do it against Mason Rudolph, who has the history that everybody knows, going up against Mason Rudolph back in the starting lineup, replacing Ben Roethlisberger? It creates all kinds of storylines for this weekend between the Browns and the Steelers. And the Pittsburgh Steelers are opting to rest Ben Roethlisberger in favor of Mason Rudolph, basically doing an inadvertent favor for their division rival. But in this particular case, the Pittsburgh Steelers never really had a bye during the season of COVID. They're doing what's best for their team, even if it means assisting the Browns and hurting a team like the Colts that needs Pittsburgh to win this upcoming weekend. Bottom line, though, Mason Rudolph versus the Cleveland Browns, you couldn't create a more intriguing storyline for Week 17.
All right, Dan, so they're going to sit Big Ben. Is that the smart move for a Steelers team that, frankly, has struggled a lot of late?
Absolutely. Not only just Big Ben, but a lot of their veteran guys. I mean, you heard Schefter say it. This is a team that really didn't have a true bye week. This is out of necessity, not out of privilege. We've seen teams do this because they have the benefit of doing it. This is needed for Pittsburgh. This is a team in the month of December, which is the most grueling month in the NFL regular season. They played 4 games in a span of 19 days. They played 5 games over 25 days, and they had some rough patches through it. So this is needed for their veteran players and the coaches to, like, not only have this physical break, but also the mental break of not having to grind over tape, the mental break of not having to grind over a game plan and get ready to go play that game. So this is really smart by Mike Tomlin. They did what they needed to do to get in. They're right where they want to be, and now they get themselves both physically and mentally ready to go on that playoff run.
No, I ain't feeling all that. I understand it. I understand the rest that's needed and, getting guys back prepared. But this team has not looked good. They've played 1.5 quarters of good football in the last month. And I totally understand it. I mean, Ben is 38, right? And you look at these veterans and you want to have guys fresh going into the playoffs. 100% agree with the idea. But I'm looking at football too. Like we are coming off conversations on our own show about can the Pittsburgh Steelers win one game in the playoffs based on what we've been watching, especially from an offensive perspective. And then too, like you play in Cleveland, I don't know if there's a possibility that they may see the Browns again, but I would want to go ahead and eliminate a divisional opponent and not deal with the possibility of playing them 3 times in one season. So yeah, from the standpoint, everything you said is very logical, Dio. But I look at a team in Pittsburgh who has struggled, who did not look good against the Indianapolis Colts for majority of that game until they got going late, and now you're putting them in a situation where they're going to take a week off. So hopefully, the train of thought is that the rest is going to make them a better football team and firing on all cylinders, and that is what I guess Mike Tomlin is banking on. But based on what I've seen from the Pittsburgh Steelers, they need some game plan to get this thing fixed. I would say 1 quarter, 1.5 maybe, and then get them guys out of there, use it like a preseason game. But I would not sit Ben. I wouldn't sit any other starters. I give them some reps against the Cleveland Browns.
Will, we have this debate every year, right, with a team that's already locked in, and our analysis tends to be very outcome-based. Like if the team wins, everybody forgot that they sat. If they lose, we say, oh, they came out flat because they sat. So it's sort of a no-win because you can't disprove a negative. I think it's the right move for Pittsburgh, especially with Ben Roethlisberger, because as you pointed out, he is 38 years old. He is coming off multiple injuries and surgeries, and at this point in his career, his arm is a lot like Dan Orlovsky's jokes. It's pretty hit or miss, guys, and it's a lot of miss these days. Now, I think if the Pittsburgh wants any chance of a deep playoff run, we need to see the Ben Roethlisberger we saw in the second half. And that wasn't about, play calling or anything unusual. That was just about him hitting on deep throws. You saw what happened with the Colts defense. They couldn't play up the way they were with the safeties cheating up. It's all about Ben's arm. That's it. That's the ball game for Pittsburgh. And if I'm Mike Tomlin, I do everything I can to preserve it headed into the postseason.
You know, I got to be honest. Before the show, Mina sent us a group text, said, I'm about to roast Dan.
Wasn't that much of a roast.
No, that was a killer roast. Because your jokes have fallen so flat lately.
I don't even tell a lot of jokes.
That's the whole point.
I didn't want to hurt you.
All right,
No,
this
you
is,
should hurt him.
I'm not
break.
witty enough to think of something in a comeback right now, so give me a commercial break. I disagree with Marcus. They need another quarter. They played 16 games, bud. They played 16 games. I just told you they played 5 games in 25 days. You want them to go play preseason game 4? The dumbest thing that Mike Tomlin could do would be trot out Ben Roethlisberger, and all of a sudden he gets a hit on an elbow, a hand, and all of a sudden the playoff run is dead. And so you have the opportunity because of the work you've put in to take advantage of this. This is 100% the right decision by Tomlin.
I understand what you're saying, but the execution has not looked good. That's my point. Like coaches that I've been around, if you earn your right to rest and sit. And the execution for the Pittsburgh Steelers until the second half of the Indianapolis Colts game has been abysmal. We talked about this team like they couldn't win a game after that. And then during the first half of the Colts game, we was like, yeah, this is it for the Steelers. Like they're gonna be in the playoffs 1 week and be done. So look, we'll sit here after the first game that the Pittsburgh Steelers play, and if they don't play well and execute, I'm going to sit here and look at you and Mina and not say a damn word about them missing all of this time before they play a game. I'm not going to say anything. I'm just telling you. This would not be a part of any of my train of thought if the Steelers hadn't looked as bad as they've looked from an offensive standpoint for as long as they've looked that bad.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.